So in this video, I'm going to talk you through how you can scale your e-commerce brand lightning fast. And there's two main things that you need to focus on. I'm going to go through exactly what that is. And this comes off the back of myself co-founding an e-commerce business that now does multiple seven figures per year. My brother and I started a e-commerce business, cold pressed juice cleansing company, from our kitchen bench after we left our corporate jobs back in 2013. And I've also helped over 200 e-commerce brands hit record revenue months in my paid community called the Ecom Blueprint and Up-Level Mastermind as well. And this concept is what I call planting seeds and harvesting. So I'll go through exactly what that means. Now, if you're doing less than 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K per month, this is really pivotal in getting to that next level and understanding what it's actually going to take. You may be in a position where you're basically feel really restricted and constrained in who knows about you, right? I hear this all the time where people say, if only more people knew about me, if only I could get my product in more people's hands, then I'll be successful or drive more sales or, everything would be great. I guess want and desire doesn't necessarily change. We always want that to be the case, but specifically at that level, you are exactly right. And so where this planting seeds and harvesting comes into it is where our focus actually goes. So let me talk about them both individually. So the first one is the planting of the seeds. This basically means that it's growing or rather getting people into our ecosystem. Planting the seeds means acquiring people's, call it attention, knowledge of us, building our databases, whether that's an email database or social database or SMS database. It's acquiring people that know about us. And I call that our sphere of influence. So going from, let's call it 100 people in our database to 1,000 people in our database to 10,000 people to 100,000 people in our database. That is what the planting seeds actually means. Now, most people just kind of wait for this to happen. They don't actually have any strategy around building a database. Okay, they might have a pop-up on their website that gets email addresses through, and that's kind of the extent of it, right? They get people when they get people through the various means of marketing to their website. Regardless of the strategy you actually do use, and we can go through a couple in this video, the focus really needs to be there. Now, the reason that it's not for most people under that 30 to 50K per month is because it's not sexy. It's not sexy to be like, I'm going to do a marketing strategy to get people's email addresses or build up my social following. It's just not. Like, what's fun and sexy is actually making sales, is running ads, etc., etc. But I want you to realize that the speed and level of your growth and scale will depend on the speed and rate of growth of your actual database, or let's call it that sphere of influence for consistency. So the more people that you can get into your sphere of influence in the shorter period of time, the faster you'll be able to actually make more sales, which is the harvesting aspect, right? So with planting seeds, there are things like obviously natural drivers to your site, whether it's paid or organic. It might be people that can sign up to your lead form, for example. You might have some ads running that actually are Facebook ad, lead forms, for example, that you give away a free training or a lead magnet or, some sort of guide. Obviously, natural traffic sources could be, say, influencers posting or for you, or it could be, that some publication has published an article about you and driven people to your site. So there's really infinite ways. There's core things, but there's infinite ways that you can drive people to your database and get more people to know about you. The most effective that I have understood or experienced, and especially that we teach in our Ecom Blueprint program, is using other people's audiences as much as possible, right? So again, we are in our little bubble. We've got our friends, our family, and a little people that, beyond that know about us. But the more that we can use other people's audiences, it's going to be way more affordable, way more effective, the better, right? Because it takes from us, like our core here. Say we've got 1,000 people here, right? We've basically got 1,000 people here. We're doing ads here and there. We're doing some, organic content here. Might be sending some emails here, maybe a competition here and there as well. But if you use other people's audience, say you got 1,000 here, other people's audience, say have 100,000 over here, or even 50,000, 10,000, whatever it might be, who don't know about you at all, by using them, you can actually leverage over. As I say, the biggest bang for buck is using other people's audiences, especially at that less than 30 to 50K a month level, because it's them just talking about you to their audience. When they are following someone, and you put yourself in their position, right? If you're following someone, a publication or even an influencer or someone you just look up to or get your media from or knowledge from or whatever, just like their outfits, doesn't really matter what capacity it is, you have a level of affinity and trust to them. And so when someone talks about your brand, there's that natural affinity. You're probably going to go and check them out, check out their socials, check out their website and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this person likes them, this person endorses them. So I'm going to check it out and I'll probably like it too, just because that person likes it. Where We're human beings, and that's how the psychology of human beings typically operates. All right. That by association or by affinity building, that gap of trust is immediately bridged. So that's the most powerful way that you can continue to build your sphere of influence, is continue to look for high leverage opportunities where you can leverage other people's audiences. As I said, the biggest one is certainly influencers, and the other biggest one would be some sort of PR. So online publications or radio or podcasts or something like that. Print media and stuff, is a bit outdated, especially for online businesses, but certainly online publications is definitely where it's at. They have a huge readership. And if you can get in there in a paid or organic capacity, either way are really effective in my experience, then you're well on your way to building your networks and continue to build your sphere of influence. So that's the first thing of planting seeds. You got to make sure that your databases or your sphere of influence is building every single day. And you should be tracking, at least on a weekly basis, how much they are increasing, because that will then gauge the frequency of how often and frequently you can harvest and how effectively you can harvest. So harvesting basically means the ability to extract revenue or sales from that audience, that sphere of influence, that database, whatever it is you're actually using. And so this is the sexy, fun stuff where we can actually reap the rewards. So planting the seeds, tick, 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 harvesting, right? If you're growing by a substantial amount every single day, call it every single week, you can, again, increase the frequency of when you're able to harvest by creating certain offers. We had a client come through the community not that long ago, and they were getting about 400 people, 500 people on their database every single week. So what did that mean? It meant that they had 400 or 500 new people every single week that they could then market to with a introductory offer. And they did that week in, week out, and they would get probably $5,000 or $6,000 worth of sales from that newly acquired audience every single week. Now, that was only because they were planting the seeds consistently from ads, from competitions, from influencers, from PR, right? And they were able to harvest accordingly and get that really nice consistency. And so this is where I'll basically implore you to be able to think like this. There's no point just sending out another sale. There's no point just doing another offer if your database has seen it all before. They saw it last month, the month before, the month before, and that's the same people. It's stagnating, in fact, probably declining your database or your sphere of influence because it's the same people. You're not topping up. So people struggle and really a challenge to get past that 30 to 50K per month because they're not understanding that they have to build their audience and database. Again, they just want the quick wins. But if you can think a little bit longer term and build things for the future as well as reap the rewards in the shorter term, and it's a shorter period of time than you might think, then you're going to be in much better position to grow and scale. And again, that's where people get the exponential growth, especially when it's year on year. So if you come to a Black Friday and it's like, yeah, we did, $10,000, $12,000 worth of sales is our best month or something like that. If you focus for full 12 months on building, planting seeds, testing offers through your harvesting, and you get to the next Black Friday, they're the sorts of brands that go to 50 to 80 to 100K per month that next year because they've focused on the right things. They've actually consciously built it up. It's not by chance that they just sent out the best offer that they've ever done or that they, just got lucky or something like that. It's because that they've consciously built up their audience and sphere of influence to the point where a great offer does resonate and it is good timing for people. And then they do reign in the sales, which is incredible to see. And I see it time and time again. It's very predictable when people follow this structure and strategy that's going to happen for them. And that's why I'm really excited for, the brands in our community because we've been building for that since the last Black Friday, for example. Okay. But you can do this consistently throughout every single month. As I said before, my client was doing it every single week and it was working like clockwork. So what did they need to do? They just keep building the audience building side, 600, 700, 1,000 people a week. And then they're able to harvest and extract more revenue from that. And so that's a balancing act and a strategic thing, and obviously managing budgets and stuff like that when it comes to ads. But it's also the realization of what actually drives what is the cause to the effect of getting more sales. Because everyone says I want more sales, but they don't understand or have the experience to actually reverse engineer how that happens and what they actually need to do. So that's what I wanted to share with you in this little video. Okay. So planting seeds, harvesting, that is the key to scaling fast, because it seems that it actually scales fast, but you just got the ducks in a row of how to actually extract the sales. And we got to plant the seeds first. People have to know about us. We have to build our sphere of influence consistently, using strategies consistently. So I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'd love to share more things with you in the coming months and years with my e-commerce journey. I've been doing it for 13 years and helping hundreds of people do it. So I'm just sharing what I know, of course, to my audience. If you want to know more about what we do, how we help e-com brands, there's a link below. You can click on it, check it out, see if it's right for you. If not, no worries. But again, thank you for being here and making it to the end of this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.